अपि स्वर्णमयी लंका न मे लक्ष्मण रोचते जननी जन्म भूमिश्च स्वर्गादपि गरीयसी. This is how Valmiki's Ramayana talks about Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram telling brother Lakshman after the victory over Ravan in Lanka that while Lanka is made of gold and very beautiful, it's not to my liking, because for me, Janani Janma Bhumishcha, my mother and my motherland, Swargadapi Gariyasi, are greater than heaven. And this is today the national motto of the Himalayan paradise, Nepal. That shows the close civilizational bond between Bharat and Nepal. But this Himalayan paradise is in turmoil today. And to discuss more about the turmoil and the way forward, with me is someone who's very close to Nepal. Like India and Nepal are civilizationally one. Similarly, soldiers of the Indian Armed Forces and the Armed Forces of Nepal, they've shed blood together, they share the same bond. With me on this broadcast is Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, former Adjutant General of the Indian Army, a Gorkha Rifles officer, Colonel of the 11 Gorkha Rifles, and you commanded the Ladakh Corps. Sir, welcome on the Chakraview podcast.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for inviting me.
Sir, when we look at this turmoil in Nepal today, what goes through your heart? Because it gives a lot of pain to see a brother in such deep distress.
So I agree with you. It's so painful. It is so distressing to see the kind. And it is similarly, if you recollect, 15 years ago, they had that Maoist insurgency for 10 years. We were distressed at that time also to see the kind of pain and anguish that Nepalese people, which is like our own people. We never distinguish between the people of Nepal, Gurkhas, and people of India. And naturally now it is so, we feel so bad about it. I wish our goodwill is always towards Nepalese people and Nepal as a country. And having been there umpteen number of times, every time you go, you feel the warmth and the love and the affection. Since we speak the language, we feel the love and affection of people. And, of late what has happened, I wish it not happened and they would have found a better method of resolving issues.
Because, when you see the Sheetal Nivas burning, or when you see Singh Darbar, or the parliament in flames, it just hurts. I mean, it just hurts to see the turmoil.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't say that the students would have done this. The people are in love with their own country, and we see this here in the soldiers who have joined our armed forces. But the fact is that you see all these burnings which have been carried out, it's not nice. It is national assets being lost out, and I wish it not happened this way.
Yes, and we'll talk about the crisis. We'll talk about this serious crisis when it comes to confidence in their political leadership. The manner in which homes of several leaders, the president's palace, Sheetal Nivas, set on fire, presidential house set on fire, homes of several prime ministers, not just KP Sharma Oli, but Sher Bahadur Deoba, several deputy prime ministers, finance minister, home minister, IT minister, their homes were being set on fire. Former prime ministers were being assaulted. Their families were being assaulted. The anger is palpable.
So has it started one day? Is it anger just started 48 hours ago, or is there anger which was pent up for quite some time? It has just come up to that level today. And if you start seeing, and all of us who follow what's been happening in Nepal, I think there was a pent up emotion. It just required a trigger. It just required a kind of a catalyst to take it off, and then the government provided the catalyst, and lo and behold, it was bad shape. So this was coming. Many of us who could read through. See, I give you a simple example. Look, Gaurav, in a country which is as small as Nepal is, if you have 8 to 9 lakh young boys and girls leaving their country every year for outside pastures and all largely going as blue-collar workers, I think this is a great loss to any nation.
I was speaking to somebody in Nepal who was telling me that this is the handiwork of outside forces to weaken Nepal. Blaming, they're saying, you guys in India are sleepwalking into trouble. Look at what's happening in Bangladesh, what has happened in Sri Lanka, and what is happening in Nepal. You guys are sleepwalking into trouble. I don't know. You tell me if we are. But they say that students have a very noble thought, but students are just the front. There are other forces at play. How do you see this?
Look, all this can be said, and the conspiracy theories are the first ones to be brought about. In case of Bangladesh, they had political troubles, and the agitation took place because of the problem that they had reservation. The Reservation Act. In Nepal, there was no reservation. Nepal, it came up for a different reason altogether. The students
But
felt.
if I may, just blocking 26 websites, social media platforms will lead to a revolution.
So, unemployment is so rampant, and everybody is a YouTuber, and everybody is. I was ashamed, but I spent so much of time on my phone, yeah. So the fact is the youth is only embedded to social media if they don't have better avenues to do so, and you just cannot one day morning decide. See, a Supreme Court ruling did come last year, which said that Supreme Court said that there needs to be a check on the malcontent which come across. India also have got, India also we follow this. You just can't put something there. You can call the YouTube people saying, why is this content there? So they do some checks themselves. So to ask the social media companies to make sure that no malcontent is put across there is one issue. But to ban them is another issue, because now social media was anti the current government and they were writing so much of, people writing so much. You just cannot ban it on a decision taken in Supreme Court 1 year ago. So, it cannot be done. It is the involvement, and I think Gen Z, you must be having Gen Z kids here. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is that they are wedded to social media. It is not an additionality. It is part of life.
And in their case, it's also a way of being in touch with their family overseas.
Yeah, everything. It is nowadays. You block a phone. You can't even use UPI. You can't get paid for a cab. Yeah, so you just cannot do it. And
so was KP Sharma Oli being tone deaf, especially after his visit to China?
I don't know whether he's tone deaf or not. And I thought people should have understood the power of the student. Remember, we had Mandal in India, yes. Power of the student. We were youngsters, we saw the kind of anguish that we saw in India. The student is a strong power. They are impressionable by age. We are an aspirational country, India. Nepal is as much aspirational as people are there. You have a motorcycle, you want to buy a car. You have a car, you want to buy a better car. You have a small flat, you want to buy a bigger flat. Everybody is aspirational in nature. And it is logical. They say, yeah, look, I am entitled to same aspirations as the minister's son, who drives Range Rovers in Nepal, and flashy cars and music running around there, and I'm also entitled to. I'm also a citizen of the same country, and all this social media also puts across knowledge base which probably didn't exist there earlier. So I think the decision taken was a catalyst, but to say that is the only thing, it was pent up emotion that blew up in the face of the politicians.
You also mentioned this SUV. So there's this image that's going viral in Nepal, and somebody sent it to me. A minister's SUV going very fast. It hits a little child, and arrogantly the minister he just moves on, and the child is left on the road. That also angered the people.
So 11-year-old child, and all this, see, small thing adds up. The statement that the Prime Minister gave on this incident that you're referring to was casual. Accidents happen. You can't say accidents happen. Accidents happen every day. But a politician's convoy, which is going across and hits a child, and the child gets hurt badly, and the convoy doesn't stop to pick up the child and take it to hospital. Yeah, it would make a difference. You know, so you add all these things together. It was boiling. It was there pent up. And they forgot to notice that there is an issue of anguish in the nation, and also a feeling of corruption is rampant. Yeah, you know.
And it's a musical chair. Same 4-5 people just turn around and become prime ministers and ministers.
God alone knows how the politics works. Till yesterday, Nepali Congress was supporting Maoist Center. Prachanda was prime minister. And then one fine morning, they say, okay, Prachanda, you're no more. I will support Oli, and Oli becomes prime minister. This is not musical chair. This is, and you know, what, 14 odd prime ministers in 10, 11 years? You can't even have a government to talk to. So that's why, as an institution, the political hierarchy was under stress. They should have been under stress to say one day people will get annoyed. If you add all these people going out, migrating, no educational institutions, etc., then there is a large amount of grievance that existed in Nepal.
So what, according to you, should be the path that Nepal adopts, these youngsters, the army, because apparently the anger with the existing leadership is tremendous. They don't want any of this old leadership back in power.
So some good names have been thrown up. See, we went to Nepal recently, 6 months, 8 months ago, and even then people said, yeah, look at the work done by Balen Shah. Now, Balen is a politician. He just became a mayor in 22. He's just 3 years old. But he turned the city. He's turned this Kathmandu city. He has been so harsh. The kiosks been removed, clean. We have been to Kathmandu so many times that we saw a substantive change in Kathmandu this time we went.
Oh, how nice.
And Balen Shah brought it. And he was strong, ham-handed. And he brought a change, and the change was, and he's young. He's 90 born, okay, 90. So he's young, and you know he has a future. So Balen Shah, Mrs. Karki is from Purba. She's in Purba, she's from East. She's from Dharan, Viratnagar.
Isn't that where your regiment,
my regiment is
had more of its soldiers?
Yeah, our soldiers come from that area, Rai Limbus. So, you know, Mrs. Karki is from East, and she has been strong against corruption, very strong against corruption. So, you know, people remember her that she came up
and she took some very strong decisions also.
Very strong decisions, and you know, she was, so maybe Mrs. Karki is the interim government, because Balen Shah now has said that he is not keen on forming the government, and he is saying, I support Mrs. Sushila Karki. So Sushila Karki becomes, she was Chief Justice of and Supreme Court, and she is well aware. See, to agitate is one part. To govern is another part altogether. To govern is not easy, no? You have to run so many institutions, from economics to foreign policy, etc.
And rebuild, I mean, even courts, district courts burnt, high courts, Supreme Court burnt, whether those documents remain.
First bring peace into the country. First bring an assurance that aage theek hoga, things will be better in future. That assurance to the people of Nepal that we will bring about a change.